What's up, guys? Welcome to the patch overview for this week. There's quite a few things to talk about, so we're going to just jump into it. Alright, so the free hero of the week, the Archer. If you guys don't have the Archer yet, you can get it discounted by reaching up to level 15 for 650 bling discount. Um, I think I think probably the roulette system also is pretty nice for getting new heroes. I don't know because I have all of the heroes, but I've gotten quite a few themes from there just by 3-starring castles. Especially if your hero isn't already level 30, because you can get through castles a lot quicker, so you can get more roulette spins. Um, all right, so totems. So we finally have totems here. They're a little bit different than I thought they were going to be. I thought they were going to give buffs to creatures along with having this, but instead they only make it so that you can't leash outside of a room. So let's just read over this really quick. Totems can be crafted with materials and allow you to create powerful defense setup in your castle. Once a totem is placed in a room, all creatures placed in the totem's area of effect cannot escape its perimeter. If an attacker tries to pull creatures outside of this zone, the creatures will return to this return to the totem, and their health will be regenerated. So this happens instantly as soon as one creature steps beyond the circle that it will show. It'll play like this horn sound, and then everything will walk back, and it'll be fully regenerated. So that's pretty good. It's pretty interesting. There's a little bit of buggy things in it, such as I've killed off totems and then tried to kite the mobs after that, and they just stand there awkwardly and let me kill them. Like, they won't walk back and they won't regenerate. They'll just stand at the edge of the aggro circle and just let me kill them. I don't know if that happens all the time or if it was a specific instance, but that did happen earlier today when I was trying that out. Attackers can destroy the totem in order to break the link and kite the creatures. So this is how it's supposed to work. I don't know if it's broken all the time or just sometimes, but it definitely broke for me. They are currently capped at a maximum of 2 per castle for their first outing, but we need your help to make the feature evolve the best possible way. Please give us your feedback in the comments and on the forum. So they want to try to make this so that you can't exploit it as much as possible, because it does help out certain setups quite a bit. 2 of them is going to make people kind of use like 2 rooms and then the boss room, and that's pretty much it. But they can't be placed inside of the boss room, so it does help the all in the boss room strategy kind of leave and at least have some more creatures spread out throughout the castle. Check out the next news for more information on totems. I'll take a look at that. I'm not sure what information was there. I know I read through it earlier today, but I don't remember exactly. Alright, so we have new creatures. I'll go over this in my castle a little bit later, but basically it's the Chargoyle. It's a pretty interesting creature. It's definitely unique, and I like that. I like having a new trap that isn't just a remake of something else. I do really like that. There's some new legendary weapons. I believe these are things that you can buy inside of the blacksmith shop, which is in the Cornelius Emporium now. It only goes up to level 21, so it does help out newer players, but it doesn't help out older players. I think that's fine. Most older players have better weapons than this anyway. And you will often find better weapons. Like, I know I was leveling up my mage a little while ago, and I had better weapons than this, you know. So I'm still using one that's like around level 21. That's like an epic or whatever. A short video presenting each weapon will follow shortly. Stay tuned. I don't think they're that crazy. Maybe they are. I mean, maybe they have special abilities or something, which would be kind of crazy, but I don't think they do. Improvements. The Stairmaster now has a more elaborate death animation. That's okay. I don't think any of this stuff is actually important. I'm just taking a look real quick. I don't think so, no. They did change also. I don't think they noted it in here, but they changed the Defendatron AoE and made it a little bit more clear to see what's being defended. I don't know if I like the old one or the new one better. The new one kind of looks cartoonish, and the old one looked a little bit better, but it does help you see a little bit easier, I guess. Balancing. So this is where it gets a little bit like, I don't know what they were doing. Alright, so heroes and creatures' health and damages have been increased, but keep the same ratio as before. Please check out the news focusing on totems for more information. I looked through that. I don't think I saw anything about that, but we'll read through it anyway. This actually isn't true, I don't think. It's weird, because I know before this patch I was able to one-shot volley everything but elites, and now that the new patch is out, I'm not able to one-shot volley things that I used to be able to, such as like Hungerbots sometimes stay alive through volleys and stuff like that. I don't think they did before. Maybe they did, and I was just incorrect, but I think they changed the ratios somewhere along the line for certain creatures. I haven't done enough testing to know for certain, but I know that crits are crazy high now because they increase the damages again. So I'm critting for around 13,000 on headshot, which is kind of insane. Um, Also, there's a bug with this where your hit points that you show in the gear screen is not the same that you actually have inside of a castle. So if you hold your mouse over the globe, it'll say about 1,000 hit points higher for me personally than it does in my gear screen. The same as everybody else. I was trying to check some knights with good gear to see how much hit points they actually had now, and I wasn't able to figure that out. So if a knight main that has decent gear, like Crimson Link or something like that, if you could let me know how many hit points you have, that would be awesome because I'm interested to know how high those actually are getting up to now. I'm wondering if it hit 8,000 or so, or if it's down in like 7,000, 6,000 range. I don't know. They buffed General POW, so they added more physical and magic resistance. They decreased the spawning and casting cooldown, decreased the chicken bomb casting time, decreased the chicken bomb timer before explosion by 0.09 seconds, or zero point 0.9 seconds rather, 0.9. Increased the fear behavior. I don't actually know what this is. Fear behavior delay time. I guess that must be for the POW himself, where he runs away. So he doesn't run away as far, but he starts casting probably a little bit quicker. I'm guessing they had to do this so that he casted and increased the amount of chickens that were coming out. Increase the chicken bomb damage. Chicken bomb has more physical and magic resistance. I think they'll be one shot no matter what. It doesn't matter. This is actually incorrect as well. I don't know why they added this in here because first of all, POW was never 6 points. He was always 5, and he's still 5. He's not 4. So I don't know. That one just wasn't in there. So I don't know how many of these are actually in the game. I haven't tested POW again. This probably makes him viable, though. I just don't have enough of them to make a strategy out of him, so I'm not sure if I'm going to use him or not. It would be interesting to see if you have a totem and you kite backwards outside of its ring, if he'll still summon chickens. I don't think he will. I think it resets their aggro completely. But it does make it so that they can't run past them and skip the group entirely. They'll still have to be killed by the totem or have the totem killed. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Webmasters. I don't actually understand this nerf. I guess it's because everybody was using webmasters. I'm guessing they had some sort of a stat sheet that shows the number of creatures being used in castles, which is why they probably got rid of griefers and they got rid of eyelines because nobody was using them. Which I'm pretty sad about eyelines because I really liked those units back when they were actually useful with other creatures. I think instead of getting rid of units like that, they should have added more synergy between units like they used to have, because I think that's when the game was most fun. But I think a lot of people would agree with me that were here, in closed beta and before. But this is just the direction that they're taking. So I don't want to keep harping on the past and stuff like that, even though I probably will. So Flamio, his fire breath needed to be reduced probably more than this. 8%, it does allow you to at least get through his fire breath, just roll through it, and you'll almost die, but you won't actually completely die. But I think it needs to be reduced by a little bit more, even up to 20%. I think it would be fine. I mean, whatever. If they don't want to, they should buff other bosses up to his level, though. Yeah, I'm not super angry about Flamio. I think he's relatively easy to kill as long as you look for his flame breath. He's gonna do his pounce, that's pretty deadly by itself, and then he does a few things that aren't really that deadly, and then he'll do his flame breath, and usually I can kill him after the first flame breath pretty easily. So dampener bubble cooldown increased from 3.5 seconds to 4 seconds. This is probably another one of those things where they saw a ton of people were using dampeners, and I mean the reason behind that, if they don't know, is because puppeteers, the crafted version, aren't useful because they don't have any AoE anymore. It's only a single target. It used to be an AoE, and if you have old puppeteers, it will still be an AoE. But currently, if you don't have old creatures, then the dampener is really the only useful support because bad dogs need to die, and puppeteers only have single target ability, which is not that good. So that's why everybody's using dampeners. This won't stop either. People are still going to use dampeners, I think. But yeah, that's just what they have. Stairmaster Displacer increased laser cooldown from 1.8 to 2.5 seconds. This one's weird as well. I guess people started using these, but I didn't really see them all that much, and I never really died to them, so I don't understand this. It might be a result of the double damage, but if they did keep the ratios the same, it shouldn't matter. The reason why they keep these ratios the same is because they reworked the AI, and we'll get to that in a little bit, but basically they removed the trap fear, so they wanted the creatures to have more health so that they didn't die to traps as easily, basically, because they don't have regen anymore, unless they're by a totem. Which is okay, but like it's a weird way of doing it. I don't know. I wish they just would remove creatures taking damage from traps. Like that would make it a lot easier, right? I don't know that it would affect the game that negatively, but what do I know? So Pete Palmores, they removed the critical hit capacity. I actually understand this specific upgrade or this specific nerf right here, although I mean what I think they did is they basically just did flat stat buffs, like a percentage. I don't know what that percentage is. I don't know if it's listed somewhere and I just haven't seen it. But I think they just took flat stat percentages on health and damage, and they tried to keep the ratios the same as they used to be. I think they messed up in that somewhere, but by increasing this, it makes the crit do more damage. That's why my headshot's doing way more damage than it used to be, because the multiplier on that base critical chance, that base critical damage off of like crits. I don't know if that made any sense, but basically he'd be doing more damage per critical strike than he used to, and I guess they thought that that was going to be too OP. I'm not sure if it would be. You know, he does hit for upwards of 800 on some of his abilities for his just regular auto attacks. So if he crits off of that and it was increased as well, so it might be somewhere like 1,200 or something now. If you crit for 2,400 instead of 1,600, I guess that's too high. I don't know. I don't understand the reduced health by 30%. He needs to be tanky because he doesn't really get next to people all that often. Like if you're an archer or if you're a mage, you can kind of crowd control him, either vortex or bear traps or spiral shot or whatever you have that that will stun him. Even headshot has a little mini stun. I think Deathbolt does as well. So it's really hard for him to actually close with his target if they're ranged, and I think Knights will have enough tankiness to deal with that. And then Runaways are just still really bad, so I can't really talk about balance until they get up to the level of everybody else. Definitely needing some buffs there. Haunted Gramophone, the same thing basically that they did to dampeners. They did the Haunted Gramophone, so from 3 to 5 seconds. I think dampener, yeah, it was 3.5 initially, but they basically made them both the same. So silences just got a nerf across the board. They were pretty strong, but I don't think they really needed a nerf. Ballistic Cannon. This one's weird. They basically took the old Ballistic Cannon and put it back, except with a lower range. Like, I don't know the exact numbers that the old one was, but they increased its damage. Previously, when they made the crafted version, they decreased its damage and made the attack speed a little bit higher. And this, they're making the attack speed faster again, or wait a minute, cooldown increased. Yeah, the cooldown increased. Okay, it's not attack speed increased, it's cooldown. So the cooldowns being longer makes it attack slower. That's kind of a weird way of looking at it, but they should have just said attack speed. But yeah, the cooldown is now 0.85 seconds instead of 0.65. So it attacks slower, but it does more damage, like the old one used to. But they also decrease the radius, so it might be time to actually break out my old ballistic cannons, because they still have the same radius. They possibly still have the same radius. I don't know if they buffed it across the board. They probably did, but I'm not sure. So that's something that I'll have to test at some point. But there's some bug fixes. I think that for the most part, these aren't important except for this one right here. The Mage's Deathbolt fixed a bug causing the shield to be activated on cast instead of being activated when colliding with an enemy. I'm not sure that this was a bug instead of more of a tiering on abilities, although yeah, certain abilities did gain tiering effect. Basically what was happening with this though is the level, I think it was level 24 and below, it was like tier 2 of the ability. It was one away from the highest tier. Didn't actually do this. It was only the highest tier that did this. So I don't really understand. But I guess they wanted to make it the same across the board. It is kind of frustrating when someone uses Deathbolt to like the wall and then they just charge into a room. So I mean, I guess it's good. Whatever. Yeah. So let's jump into the next news, which is, I believe, totems. Totems are here. I'm not sure if there's anything specific that I want to talk about with this. Where can you find totems? That's the crafting lab. The material cost is not really that high, I don't think. They're mostly pretty easy things to get. Unless people are still low on smoldering eyes if they use them for general POW. I am glad that they lowered the footprint. It used to be, what I heard previously, that it was going to be the same footprint size as a trap generator, and they made it to 2x2, and then they have a larger area of effect. And you have to place creatures around them. So I guess I can quickly show that off in my own castle. I am working on a new defense that I don't want to show off quite yet, so I'll just build it in some other part of my castle. So you can see kind of what is going on there. So I think that's probably what I'll do instead of this. There's a lot of good information here about totems, so I guess I should go through some of it. Can you manually link creatures? For the first version, basically creatures are automatically linked, so if you want to have specific creatures linked to the totem, because it has a maximum amount of 28, which is the attack ticket system anyway, but basically you have to delete the ones that you don't want linked to your totem and then place the other ones down first. Attack ticket system, basically the ones that are linked to a totem have priority, so they'll get attack tickets first if they are around the person with, if they're around, like, if you lead everything into a group with the totem, it should be the ones that have the totem effect will have tickets first. I don't know, that's kind of weird, but hopefully it's not that they keep their tickets even when they're like delinked from the attacker. Like if you forward kite, hopefully everything else doesn't just run away. That would be really weird. What happens if you walk away after aggroing creatures linked to a totem? The creatures will go back to their initial position and get healed, but they will stay on alert. This means you won't be able to access the treasure room without killing them before. Can you destroy totems? Yes, you can. And I think the door actually won't unlock unless you do destroy totems. That's not said here, but I heard someone complaining about that. So here's the artificial intelligence change. So basically creatures won't be scared of traps anymore. They won't try to escape them, and that's basically why they increase the hit points and the damage. I don't know why they didn't just do hit points of creatures, but who knows. I guess they don't want to screw up balance too much, even though it's kind of bad anyway. It's bad in a weird way, I don't know. I don't think anyone's happy with where balance is, but it's like probably close to a 50% win rate. It just feels really bad when you lose and feels really bad when you win, like, because you just die instantly or they just get through. I mean, I don't know. It's weird. There's no like thought process. I mean, there is. I don't know. I don't know how to explain how I feel about balance right now. Yeah, so this is why, in our first test, we noticed that creatures were too weak against traps, so we buffed their health, but we didn't want to make heroes too weak, which I don't know if that's actually the case, but okay. So we drastically changed our base ratios to adapt to our balancing to the new gameplay without altering how Mighty Quest feels. Which I already noticed when I was playing, that it felt a little bit different. My headshot was doing more damage when it crit than it used to, but then my volley was doing less for some reason. I'm not sure why that would be, but I guess just crits are really high compared. So I guess if you crit a lot with volley on those hits, then it would be more damage probably. Alright, let's just jump into Mighty Quest right now. So I have this new trap, which is the, I don't even remember the name of it. Let's figure that out real quick. The Charge Goyle. So I have that right here. Let's see if I can craft a totem as well. I should have enough to craft one more, and I don't have two already in my castle. So let's just put one like right here, just so I can show you guys how it all works. And I have my game muted, I believe, so let's turn up the volume a little bit so you guys can hear. Alright, cool. Alright, so let's place just a handful of units in here, probably something a little bit tanky, so let's place in, do I have any Defendatrons or anything? Probably not. Let's just place in like this guy, and there's a Defendatron. I think he's an old one, but it'll still do the job that I want to show off. He's actually probably going to get hit by this, which is terrible. I don't actually know what's going to happen here. Let's just rotate this and move it back here. There. That'll still allow me to show that off while still showing this off. Alright, so let's jump into the castle and show this stuff off before we end this video out. Okay, so basically how this totem works is, I guess I should have showed it in the other screen first, but basically there's that, you'll see it in the video if you want to rewind to after I explain this to see it again or whatever, if you don't understand how they work. Basically there's a smaller box that all the creatures have to be inside of that you want to be linked to this totem, and then there's a larger circle around it, and that's the edge at which they will return to the totem. So it's somewhere around here that circle is. I don't know the exact range, but it's somewhere around here because I know the overall size of it, and then that square is like right here. So basically they aggro the same way. If you attack them, they'll aggro, and if you kite back, okay, you can see the edge right here. So as soon as they hit this point, you'll hear it. So you can hear that little horn, and then they all turn around and they heal back up. And you'll notice they're still aggroed on my screen, but that's kind of weird. They have this like little hit point buff marker. Anyway, they're still aggroed on my screen, but they won't come towards me until I attack them again, because they kind of reset themselves. So you can kill them, but then they almost instantly regen, but it's actually not as quick as I thought it was going to be. That's actually pretty slow regen. I wonder why. That's actually really bad. I thought it was higher than this. Maybe it's because it's an old creature and it's not performing correctly. That could be the case. Let's see if I can deal damage to the Jimbo. I didn't deal enough damage to him. I just want to hit the Jimbo a little bit and see if he heals instantly. I actually killed the totem. So now what I'd like to see is if the creatures bug out. I'm not sure if they will. I have to wait until my skeletons are dead for this to work. Hopefully my skeletons won't kill the Jimbo. Alright, so let's see. Alright, so it looks like this one actually worked properly. He's actually following me. Will he attack? Yeah, he'll attack. I don't know why the last one did that. I know I forward kited it, but the totems are a little funky. They're going to need some bug fixes. I even said that there was going to be bugs when they released totems. Like, that's pretty obvious when I was coming with that. So let's rotate this way so I can show off the least amount of my defense that I'm already working on as possible. And talk about this trap right here. So it's an interesting trap. It's definitely a different trap. It's kind of similar to a mouse wheel in that it has this like time when you're safe and it's in a line. So it's kind of good in the same situations I think that mouse wheel traps are good in. But it has a snare instead of a stun, and it does probably more damage if you stand in it over time. So let's kind of show it off. So you can see it does about 100 damage a tick, but the ticks are very fast, and then afterwards you take a little bit of damage over time after that. So it's about 150 to 200 before the damage over time tick, along with a slow. And if you let it hit you completely, like that's a ton of ticks. It's probably somewhere upwards of 600, or 10 ticks rather. I don't know why I said 600, but about 10 ticks. Like that's really high. That was about one full rotation, and it's about 2,000 damage. So that's really high if you get hit by all of it. That's hardly ever going to happen though. Most likely you'll get hit by 3 or 4 ticks, which is not bad. It's the same cost as like rotating flame traps that you can kind of see down there, even though I'm not going to show them to you. It's an okay trap, and there's good situations with it. You should pick up at least a few of these, but I know they're really high mat costs. It's 40-day trappies and 2 what do you call them there? 2 why am I not coming up with this name? Number 42s, that's it. So that's really high cost to actually build this trap. But yeah, I didn't spend all that much on the rented runner. I was able to afford 2 of these. I'll probably try to get 1 or 2 more if I can. I have enough day trappies, but I do not have enough number 42s right now, so that's going to be what I'm going to have to try to get. And I don't know if they lowered the drop rate like they did for... I don't remember what the creature was that used them that I wanted. I think it might have been hot rollers that used them. I don't know. There was a creature that used them previously that I didn't get a bunch of. Was it? I don't think it was caustic carpets, but maybe it was. No, caustic carpets were cogs. That's what I had a problem with. But yeah, that's the patch. You guys can let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. There's a lot of bugs. Like I said that was going to happen. There was even the exact bug that I thought was going to exist, which was locked gates and the fact that they just don't open certain times. I knew that that was going to happen. I knew there was going to be some bug in the locking thing with totems, because the fact that like the totem forces the gate to be locked even though the creatures aren't aggroed on you anymore, I knew that that was going to be a problem, and it is. They said that they fixed it, but I heard more comments after that saying that it wasn't fixed. I haven't played a ton on this patch as of yet, so only a couple attacks, and I haven't revalidated my castle or anything yet, so I don't know. I haven't actually experienced that bug yet, but I have experienced a few bugs. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.